All right, let's start by putting our name up at the top. Remember, for these videos, you need to write down everything I write down to get credit so that you don't have to redo it. So if I write down some work, I want you to write down the exact same thing. Let's look at number 1. Order the following by putting them in approximately the correct place on the number line. And then they give us a whole bunch of decimals. Now, the first thing that I'm going to notice or pay attention to is where my number line starts and where it ends over here. So they want us looking at decimals or looking at the space between 0 and 1. I know that halfway between 0 and 1 is 0.5 or 0.50. I'm just going to put that on my number line just to help me put these other decimals on the number line. Then I'm going to start with some easy ones first. I'm going to start with 0.56 because that's going to be really close to 0.50. I know it's going to come a little bit after 0 and 56 hundredths. I'm going to continue looking up here and seeing if I can pick out another easy one. I'm looking at this one right here. This one is going to be really close to 1 whole. 0.943. It's going to be really close over here. So I'm going to put it really close to my 1 and label it. Cross that one out. Okay, I'm looking over here. For this one, I'm thinking money. This looks like 9 cents to me. This would be having 0. This would be having $1. 9 cents, that's not really close to $1 at all. It's pretty close to having almost nothing. So I'm going to put that on the line over here. Cross that one out. Then I have these two that are left, and they're very similar. 0.372 and 0.37. Sometimes when I like to compare decimals, I need to balance them out. So I'm going to add another digit over here so that they both have 3 digits after the decimal point. And I'm thinking 372 thousandths or 370 thousandths. This one is bigger, this one's smaller. And 0.3, well, here's 0.5. I think it's going to come over here somewhere. So I'm going to put 0.37 right here. And 0.372 is really close to it, but it's just after it. If at any time I'm moving too fast, please just pause the video. All right, let's look at number 2. Round each number. So they give us 3 numbers, and they're going to have us round to the nearest 1, the nearest tenth, and the nearest hundredth. So I'm going to start with my first number, and I'm going to round it to the nearest 1. So I'm just going to do a little sketching off to the side to help you out. I always need more space. First thing you need to do is underline the digit in the ones place. So to the nearest 1, I'm going to underline the digit in the ones place. This is the digit that's either going to stay the same or bump up. The number behind it's the boss. A 3 is going to make that 7 stay the same. So the 7 stays the same. The number behind it just becomes a 0. And then you leave off the other numbers. Let's go to the next one. I'm just going to go straight down. 4.029, underline the digit in the ones place to the nearest 1. That's either going to stay the same or bump up. Look at the digit behind it. What's that 0 going to make the 4 do? Stay the same. And then this number becomes a 0, which it already is, and then I leave these numbers off. The next one, underline the digit in the ones place. It's a 5. It's either going to stay the same or bump up. The digit behind it's the boss. What's the 0 going to make the 5 do? Stay the same. So everything in front stays the same. This changes to a 0, which it already is. And then we leave those other ones off. All right, let's go to the next column. We need to round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to take those same numbers, and this time I'm going to underline the digit in the tenths place. 7.385, which digit's in the tenths place? 3 is. The 3 is either going to stay the same or bump up. It looks to the boss to decide. The 8 is going to make that 3 bump up. So the 7 and stays the same. The 3 bumps up to a 4. The boss changes to a 0. And everything behind it you just leave off. In fact, I don't even need the boss to be in a 0. I can just leave it like that. Next number. Underline the digit in the tenths place. That 0 is either going to stay the same or bump up. Looks to the boss. The 2 is going to make the 0 stay the same. And I just leave everything else off. Underline the digit in the tenths place. The 0 is either going to stay the same or bump up. It looks to the boss. A 6. 5 or more, raise the score. So we're going to bump it up. So 15, we bump up to a 1, and then we leave everything else off. The next one, we're going to take the same set of numbers and round to the nearest hundredth. So I have 7.385. Hundredth spot. That's the 8. The 8 is either going to stay the same or bump up. Look behind it to the boss. The boss is going to make it bump up. So we keep the numbers in front the same. So 7.3. The 8 bumps up to a 9, and we leave everything else off. Next one. Underline the digit in the hundredth spot. Look at the boss. The 2 is either going to stay the same or bump up. What's the 9 going to make the 2 do? It's going to make it bump up. So I write the same 4.0. The 2 bumps up to a 3, and everything we leave off. Last number. Underline the digit in the hundredths. 6 is either going to stay the same or bump up. Look at the boss. The boss is going to make it bump up. So I keep the 15 and the 0 the same, 15.0. The 6 bumps up to a 7, and everything else we leave off. Number 3, write the symbol greater than, equal to, or less than to compare each pair of decimal numbers. When I do this, I like to balance it out, and then I start at the beginning. The 7s are the same. So then I go to the next one. This one has a 1, this one has 1/10, this one has 0/10. I know already that this one's bigger. Next one over here, make sure that they're balanced out with digits. Looks good. Then I start at the beginning, they both have 7s. Then I go to the next spot, the tenths, they both have 0/10, so they're the same. Hundredths, this one has 0 hundredths, this one has 9 hundredths. 9 hundredths is bigger. Before I start, I want to balance them out. This one needs another digit, so I'm going to add a 0. And this one I can even look at really quickly. 7.801 hundredths, 7 and 800 hundredths. This one's got I'm sorry, thousandths. Those are thousandths. This one's got 1,000th more. And then looking over here, yes, they're already balanced out. They both have 7 ones. This one has 0 tenths. This one has 2 tenths. This one's bigger. And number 4, it says find the sums and differences. Show your work. Sum is the answer when you add. Difference is the answer when you subtract. And I have to show my work. Now, I'm going to challenge you, and we're going to use some of our different thinking strategies other than traditional. We talked about give and take, but I can only use give and take when it's an addition problem. And we also talked about constant difference. We can only use that strategy when it's a subtraction problem. We're going to use those strategies to solve these. So let's look at A, and to get my brain used to thinking about how we did these practice problems, I'm going to stack them. And I'm thinking money, $7.99 plus $2.46. The first thing I'm going to notice is that we're adding. So I could use my give and take strategy. What number do I want to give to make it easier? I want to give to this one right here. I want to add 0.1 cent, but that means I have to take away 0.1 cent from the next number. My new problem is $8 plus $2.45. Now I can go ahead and add. I get $10.45 or 10 and 45 hundredths. Circle my answer. Let's go to letter B. I'm going to stack it first. And because this one has a decimal and some digits after the decimal, I'm going to do the same with my 8. I'm going to put a decimal, and I'm going to put 2 digits after it to balance it out. I'm subtracting, and I'm making sure they're nice and lined up. My decimals are lined up. I'm subtracting, so I know that I have to use constant difference. I can't use give and take. Constant difference. The trick with constant difference is that we want the bottom number to have the zeros. What could I do? I could make this problem really easy. What if I subtract 0.21 from here? And subtract 0.21 from here? Which essentially becomes my same problem. It's $8 minus 21 cents, which is the same thing I'm trying to solve. So I could continue thinking about this one, and to think about this one, I'm even thinking number line right now in my head. If I have $8 and I jump back 20 cents, gets me to $7.80. I jump back 1 more cent. Here's my 21 cents. I get to $7.79. Circle my answer. Okay, down below, I'm going to stack it, but I'm going to balance it out. I need 2 digits after the decimal point. So $8 minus $7.98. Remember the trick? We want the bottom number to have 2 zeros, or to have all zeros if possible. In order to do that, I'm going to add 2 cents. Since it's constant, I have to do the same thing up here. Add 2 cents. My new problem, $8.02 minus $8. Now I can go ahead and subtract. I get 2 cents as my answer. Now, when I was looking at this problem, I was actually thinking about a number line before I did constant difference. And since these numbers are really close together, we practiced a few weeks back on how when they're really close together, we put them both on the number line and we just make jumps in between. I know it's a jump of 2 cents in between. That's another way to think of this. All right, make sure that you have all the notes written down that I do. Turn this into the math basket. Thanks, fifth graders.